Welcome back to the chapter 20. In this chapter, we'll actually review chapters from 11 to 19. Here we have learned how to download Gecko driver for Firefox. We downloaded Gecko driver and stored that into a path, into a folder, and use that path to create a Firefox driver. And we use a Firefox drivers to launch the browser and do the test case. So this is what we have done in the chapter number 11, okay, running on Firefox, because most of the companies requires to do the automation on the Chrome as well as for the Firefox. That's why we need to use Firefox. For Firefox, there is no straightforward method like the Chrome. For Firefox, we have to use Gecko driver. So that's only one option we have to do. Similarly, for other browsers, we need to download from their own sites like Edge and Internet Explorer, things like that. You need to download separately, and you need to have that in a folder and use the path of that folder to call the Firefox driver. So this is how we have created how to test cases to run on Firefox drivers. Okay, so that's exactly you are seeing in this video. You can see the Firefox driver. I give the path where I store the Gecko driver and use that to create the driver for Firefox. Then we launch the browser. Okay. In chapter 12, we discuss how to switch the browsers in automation. There are test cases that you might have to switch the browsers from one to another. So how to switch from Google Chrome to Firefox and Firefox to Google Chrome and to any other browsers of your choice, that we have discussed on chapter number 12. So ideally, if you look at this video, you can see that we have used actually a method called iWebDriver get driver, where we have written the browser mode. If you use FF, it is a browser mode for the Firefox. If you use a GC for Google Chrome. Likewise, in the else part, we can write other web browsers, example Internet Explorer, Safari, and Opera, and any other website of your choice, and even Edge as well. So these are the various methods that you can choose. And we also seen that how do we switch that. We can basically switch it from a config file where we have mentioned the browser mode values equal to GC or FF, and what you need to ideally do to run this on Firefox or Google Chrome according to your choice is go to the app.config and change the value that we have already discussed in the chapter number 12. So that is also an important part of it, and you have to just go to the app config, and you don't need to go to the entire test suites to change the browser switching. You have to go only to the app.config. That's the use of using app.config and config.cs with a class which is pertaining to that specific configuration. So this is what we have seen the chapter number 12. In chapter number 13, how to run automation on multiple browsers from a single test case. There will be examples that you might have to really open one part of the code in one browser. You log in as one user in one browser, and you log in as another browser, another user using another browser. For example, you open in the Firefox, and you might have to interact with these two users. So you might have to open in multiple browsers from a single test case. Example, if you want to chat, one user wants to chat with another user. One user will be on the Chrome browser, another user will be in the Firefox driver, and both need to be chat each other. So these kind of scenario will be always existing. always will be there in any company wherever you work. So definitely switching from multiple browsers from a single test cases is inevitable. So that's what we have discussed in chapter number 13, where I have used get a WebDriver for Google Chrome and ff_ driver path for the Firefox. And in addition to that, you can see that I have used a dictionary. In the dictionary that will handle multiple number of browsers. That browser is here. What we used is one is Google Chrome, which stands for the GC here. Another one is Firefox. So basically we use these two browsers, and using that thing we have actually launched a similar one test case, log into the system and submit using Firefox, and as well as in using the Chrome. So that's what ideally we have seen. I'm very sure that you guys will be using this scenario in your application as well. So this will be ideally the best example, and you can use it as a starting point for how to use a multiple browser. And that's what I discussed in the chapter number 13. And in chapter number 14, we have discussed about how to do scrolling up and scrolling down. Sometime if web elements are not in the visibility, we might have to scroll it down, or we might have to scroll it up. So that's what we have discussed in the chapter number 14. In 14, we have developed a function called public void scroll to the bottom. So using this method, you will be able to scroll down to the very bottom of the page. So scrolling action is done automatically. For that we used JavaScript executor. In JavaScript executor, we have used certain type of coding, and that's what we have discussed in the chapter number 14. And for scrolling up as well, we use the JavaScript executor. So please go to my chapter 14 to find out how to develop scroll up and scroll down. That's an inevitable part, because definitely I'm sure you guys will be using scroll up and scroll down in any part of your code, and use it very wisely. If you wanted to scroll to the middle, you can do that. If you want to scroll to the specific point, that also you can do that. So based on the code which I developed, you guys can do much more research on that and elaborate on top of that specific chapter. So that's specifically I've discussed in chapter number 14. In chapter 15, we have used how to select a drop down using various techniques. So there are three different techniques that you can find the identify or select the drop down. One is using selected by the text. Example, you want to select Algeria as the country. So you can select it by text. You can select it by using its index, and you can select it by the value. So there are three different methods that you will be able to select the drop down. So that the syntax is specifically written, and that has been explained very clearly in the chapter 15 and also implemented. So please go to that chapter to find out how do we select the drop down. Of course, definitely for all the test cases in all part of the thing, you will be using how to select this drop down as well. Use it wisely while you are using these three methods. Methods are select by text, select by index, and select by value. Okay. In chapter 16, we have implemented how to verify a menu combo box. Menu combo box is nothing but a combo box that consists of sets of different types of the items that you need to locate, that you need to select it. Okay, so example, you have selected you have entered a text called Canada from the drop down menu. Now we are going to check it whether the selected Canada is existing in the drop down menu or not. Okay, so how do we do that is basically use a combo box. You find example here driver.find element by name and locators for that state. The state contains different types of provinces, out of which what is being selected is done by this line of code. Select element, select value. What is being selected? Is it selected by Canada? Okay, if you select Canada and you're verifying it as Canada, then you say that test case pass. If you select Canada for some reason it has changed to something else, you know pretty well the test case has been failed. So that is one of kind of a verification that you are doing it, and there we have used the combo box techniques, and we also used if condition, where if the text return is Canada, test case false, otherwise test case is failed. So that kind of concept, so we have discussed. Also we have discussed in another test scenario, in case if we are supposed to select a province, a country called Canada, but it has not been selected. So we, in case while you are testing a specific line of code, you say if it is not selected, then you are supposed to select that Canada. So that condition, various other these kind of aspects has been discussed in chapter 16. I'm pretty sure that also you will be using while you develop your automation framework. In chapter 17, we have discussed about alert. Alerts can be various types. What we have discussed here is a specific alert. When we submit this specific page or the forms, you will get a pop-up. So that alert is basically called alert. Basically, we are dealt in this chapter. So if whether that specific alert is present or not, that's what we have developed in the chapter 17. If the alert is present, then return true. If the alert is not present, then it returns false. In chapter 18, we did the continuation of that specific thing, where you can accept or dismiss the alert. Accept means if the alert presents and you press on OK button, that is called accepting it. If it dismiss means we do a cancellation. So you can write a code based on that. In chapter number 18, basically we discussed about how to accept and dismiss an alert. So there we also did how to switch to an alert and return the message on that alert. That also we discussed. So we please go through the chapter number 17 and chapter number 18 for alert, identifying whether alert is present. That's one kind of test case. Another one is if alert is present, you return the text on that specific alert, and you can either dismiss it or accept it, or means you can either click on OK button or you can click on cancel button. So these are the two things we are discussing in chapter number 17 and 18. Basically, I will be discussing only one topic in one specific chapter. That way you can do an incremental and progressive learning. I don't want to mix with too much of the topics in one specific chapter. That is why I take it a very short video. Normally my videos of 10, 20 and going to be in the future is going to be 30. All these chapters are going to be a review of the previous 9 chapters. So that's where you will be getting an idea. So when you go through chapter number 20 or chapter number 10, you will get an idea what is gone through from the previous chapters. That way you will get a recap and review of the topic that is being discussed. In chapter 19, we discuss about is the checkbox is selected or not. There will be the scenario where you need to really go and verify whether that checkbox is selected. Checkbox is enabled or disabled. Disabled means checkbox is not selected. In real-time scenario, you will have so much of that condition. Some of the settings that need to be selected, some of the setting that you need to be set it off, on and off. So we need to verify in our test cases whether it is on or off. So that's what we will discuss in chapter number 19, whether the checkbox is selected or not. So that's one of the test cases. If checkbox is selected, then we can say that test case is passed, or if checkbox is not selected, then the test case is failed or whatever. That depending on your test scenarios. Okay, you normally have a manual test cases from Jira or TFS or any other lifecycle management or bug reporting system, where in which you copy this, basically follow the test steps from the manual test steps and going to follow coding in the Selenium C#. In that way, depending on the scenario, you'll be doing the coding. And also we discuss about if is selected, then don't select it. Okay, if you are not selected, the checkbox, if it is selected, then do not select it, that condition. Also we have discussed using a if else condition. So that's basically what we have discussed from chapter 11 to chapter 19, and chapter 20, that is this chapter, is basically a recap of 11 to 19. And in chapter number 21, I'll come with a very interesting topic called as page object model. I'll describe in details and how to implement this. This is also an inevitable part of the automation framework and its coding. So thanks for watching. Go back my older series and find out how to develop the framework from chapter number 1 to chapter number even 19, so that you will get an idea, and such that you can be very confident to build test frameworks, and also you'll be very confident to learn how to create test scenarios, how to create the test frameworks in Visual Studio C# Selenium Selenium platform. Okay, hope you like this, and please subscribe us, and thank you very much for watching. Goodbye for now.